foreigners won an order suspending the rebuilding of the temple. Eventually, the Jews received permission to continue, but were too poor and too apathetic to finish the work. 80 years after they arrived, the return home of the exiles seemed like a horrible mistake. But then, a remarkable man arrived in Jerusalem. His name was Ezra, and he had been sent by the Persian king to restore order to Jerusalem.
Artaxerxes, King of Kings, to the priest Ezra. Greetings. Now here are my orders. You are being sent to Judah and Jerusalem. You are to appoint magistrates and scribes to administer justice for all who know the law of your gods. And you are to teach it to all who do not know it.
Ezra is a scribe and a priest. One didn't become a scribe because he was born a scribe. One became a scribe by dint of talent, intelligence, literacy, and creativity. So now comes back to Jerusalem a man of rank and privilege and political power.
Ezra had come from Babylon, where Jewish scribes had written the first edition of the Hebrew Bible. But the mostly illiterate returnees knew nothing about the book, or its stories, or its laws. Now Ezra had a surprise for them.
Ezra didn't come to Jerusalem empty-handed. He came with a book. And that book was almost certainly the Torah, the first 5 books of the Bible in the form that we have it today. And he said to the people, this is what we're about, and this is how you must live.
In what would prove to be one of the most important events in history, Ezra gathered all of the people of Judea together in a square near the temple and read them the first 5 books of the Bible, the Torah.
That makes Ezra kind of a new Moses. He's the lawgiver. He's the one who stands up and tells the people, well, you haven't known exactly the right thing to do until now, but from this day forward, you will always know the right thing to do. And it's in this scroll right here.
You are the children of Yahweh your God. You must take all the tithes of your harvest for the year and gather them together in your community. Then the foreigner, the orphan, and the widow living in your community will come and eat. I am giving you this command. Always be open-handed with your brother and with anyone in your country who is in need and poor. Remember that you were once a slave in Egypt, and Yahweh your God redeemed you. That is why I am giving you this order.
The central possession of the Jews is the Torah, and it became the central possession of the Jews that day, the day that Ezra had it read in Jerusalem. Before that, they had parts of the Torah, but that day they had the whole thing. And for the 2,500 years since then, that's been the governing force of the Jews, the highest ideal, all of it, the history, the laws, the principles of Torah, all come out of that moment in history.
After the ceremony in which Ezra read the Torah, the people of Judea were asked to sign a contract agreeing to live according to the laws of the Bible. the document they signed was revolutionary. Proof that the Israelites' God cared not just about kings and priests, but about farmers and weavers, mothers and fathers.
This is a profoundly democratic religious revolution. What Ezra declared that day is there is no secret knowledge in Israel. In traditions all over the world, there were always mystery priests and rites that other people couldn't know. But the Torah is full of the exact rites that the priests follow in the temple. And what that means is every Israelite can know what the priests know, what the teachers know. God's revelation is for anyone who chooses to understand it. Not one revelation to the prophet and one to the priest, and then a lower order of revelation to the average person in the street. But rather, everyone can seek God. Everyone can understand God's teaching.
Ezra's call for all Jews to participate in the covenant revitalized Jerusalem. The temple especially was transformed. For the Torah required that the temple play a central role in Jewish life.
You must not put the firstborn of your herd to work, or shear the firstborn of your flock. You must eat it, you and your household, each year in the presence of Yahweh your God.
During the time of the Second Temple, there was only one place where sacred time and sacred space came together. And it was the whole spectacle and structure and ritual of the sacrifices that was the vehicle by which people came close to God. So if you lived in the north of Israel and it came time to celebrate Passover, you wanted to bring an animal, one of your animals, to the temple, you would sell your animal, take that money, make the pilgrimage to Jerusalem, buy another animal, and bring it to the temple. And you can imagine that with all of that preparation, what that moment must have been like for a penitent who came all that distance, went through all that trouble. That moment finally came when he laid his hands on this animal and established it as, this is my gift to God. This is what I'm going to eat along with God, in God's presence. You can imagine the power of that.
In addition to its laws about how human beings should treat God, the Bible had a great deal to say about how human beings should treat each other, making it one of the most sophisticated law books in the ancient world. And yet, for a man to administer laws that were written centuries earlier was not an easy task.